Ah, welcome back, friends. It's Anders without a mustache. I shaved this for one reason alone. I wanted to. Not because any of you told me I needed to, or because I looked like a creep, or because you just absolutely hated it. I will probably grow one back at some point. So all of you be ready. Or I may just keep it this way. I do with my face what I want. Some of you may wonder where I was the last couple of weeks. I was in Japan. I was with Oz. We were visiting family. We hiked in the mountains. We saw the ocean. We ate good food. We relaxed. We didn't upload for a couple of weeks. And then we came home. And when we came home, all hell broke loose in the United States. And I gotta say, I just wanted to go back. It is a crazy, crazy ass time here in America. And so I wanna tell all of you, and I'm saying this knowing you are watching on your device on YouTube, and I'm glad that you're here, but get off your phone. And I'm saying this as much as to myself as I am to you. Go be present. Touch some grass. Take care of yourself and somebody else. Make them a drink, talk. That's all I'm gonna say. On that note, I have got a cocktail for you today. What we're making today is the St. Charles Punch. It's an interesting one because I think of it as a warm weather drink, but a lot of people think of this drink as a Christmas drink, a holiday cocktail. Not that they're wrong, but I don't think of it that way. So I think this is a good one, you know, and it's got some richer flavors. Maybe this will carry us into the colder season, but it's still really light and refreshing. So without further ado, to the bar. Today's drink is called the St. Charles Punch, not to be confused with another cocktail that is incredibly similar called the Sir Charles Punch. But today it's a completely different drink called the St. Charles Punch, okay? So let's talk about the history because this one goes way back, all the way back to the 1800s. It is named after, and it was the house cocktail of the St. Charles Hotel in New Orleans. It's one of those classic hotel cocktails. Not there anymore, by the way. Interesting story. Quite the building. It was first built in 1837. This was before you had like, you know, the Waldorf Astoria in New York or any of the other beautiful, extravagant hotels. So at the time, I think this was pretty much, don't quote me here, but I think it was like the only one that was like this grand hotel. It had a huge white dome that allegedly was second in size to the Capitol Dome, and it could be seen all around New Orleans. That's a big dome. That's a big dome. People raved about it. Everybody loved it. Well, then it burnt down. And that was a tragic thing that happened there. But it burnt down in, I believe, 1851. Yep. I had my note, 1851, burned down. But they built it again. They rebuilt it a year or two later, and they made it even bigger. No dome though, no dome. But it was still like had these pillars, and just based off of pictures I've seen, it was this huge monstrosity of an ornate hotel. And I'm guessing it's the second incarnation of the hotel where the drink was created, because I don't know that many cocktails were being served before the 1850s. That's just a theory of mine. Well, anyway, this second incarnation, it burnt down. Yeah, about 40 years later in 1891. Does it matter? I mean, 1894, excuse me. In 1894, it burnt down. Can you believe it? Well, they rebuilt it again, its third incarnation. Not much to say about that one, because it was still a big grand hotel and it lived on until the 1950s and started to fall into disrepair, and then it was bought out by Sheraton Hotels, and then I think they just kind of like stepped back and they let it kind of fall apart, and it never burnt down. So in 1974, they demolished it. Now what stands there is a place called Place St. Charles. It's a giant tower. I don't think they're serving this cocktail there, but this cocktail, the St. Charles Punch, was the house cocktail of one, maybe all of the incarnations of the St. Charles Hotel. This drink shows up in the first cocktail handbook that Jerry Thomas wrote in 1862, his bartender's guide. If you look in the Jerry Thomas bartender's guide, the measurements are confusing. He uses ponies and wine glasses, And that's not how we do things now. He also says, oh, juice of quarter of a lemon. Like, well, how big is your lemon, you know? But we're gonna do our own thing here with the drink. Anyway, the drink was made primarily with port wine. It doesn't say ruby port or tawny. That's something you might wanna consider because you can use both, but you're gonna get different results. But the drink is still pretty popular in New Orleans. So with that, let's talk about the booze. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by ZBiotics. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol is converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. No bueno. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and feel your best tomorrow. If you want to try ZBiotics for yourself, click on the link down below and get 15% off your first order. Plus, ZBiotics offers 100% money back guaranteed, so if you're not satisfied, ZBiotics refunds you, no questions asked. Feel your best tomorrow, and as always, drink responsibly. Thanks, ZBiotics. Onto the film. Okay, so let's make a drink, huh? To make this recipe, we will need port wine. I forgot how to say cognac. To make this recipe, we will need port wine, cognac, lemon juice, simple syrup, and absinthe. Oh, for those of you familiar with this cocktail, you did not see this coming because this is not called for in any other recipe for the St. Charles Punch. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about the base. Port wine. I'm using a ruby port. The original recipe that Jerry Thomas gave us just said port. You could use a tawny. It's great with a tawny. But here's the thing. I like the ruby port when I want a nice refreshing drink. It adds a nice fruitiness to it. Tawny port adds a bit more of a caramely flavor. I'm going with the ruby. It's your choice. Cognac, this is the brandy that we're using in this cocktail. Any brandy is gonna be good, so don't overthink it. I'm gonna be doing equal parts here. Most recipes have twice the port to the cognac or brandy. I wanna taste more of the cognac. Simple syrup, this is a semi-rich simple syrup that I always use. 1.5 parts sugar to 1 part water. And then the absinthe, this is just a dash. This is just a eensy beensy whittle bit. This is just a very small amount. And here's the thing, it's optional. I'm letting you be optional with this. It's great. If you just follow this recipe without the absinthe and it's a great drink, but just a dash of absinthe in there gives it a little interest, a little pop of yum. This edition, the absinthe edition, is my nod to New Orleans. I love that town, haven't been there in years. There was a period of my life, about 10 years, I was going there every year. If absinthe had a home in the United States, it'd be in New Orleans. Let's build. So here we go. In a shaking tin, let's start with the port. 1 ounce of port wine. To that, 1 ounce of cognac, 1/2 ounce of fresh lemon juice, and 1/2 ounce of the semi-rich simple syrup. Oh yes, and the absinthe. 1 full dash of absinthe. We're gonna serve this on crushed ice, so I'm gonna add crushed ice now, and I'm gonna blend it up with my milkshake blender. This is the same thing I like to do with my tiki drinks, but you do not need this machine if you wanna make this cocktail. If you want, you can just shake this up real quickly with crushed ice, open pour, and that'll work too. You can even shake this up with whole ice, like cubed ice, and strain that off onto freshly crushed ice. It's your choice, but I'm using the machine. Fill this up, kind of eyeball this, cover all the liquid. Flash blend for 3 to 5 seconds. The reason why I like it is it adds a lot of air and it's really quick. So it does a really good job of incorporating everything. And open pour into a chilled glow ball. Look how foamy that is. Foamy equals fun. Top this off with a little bit more crushed ice. Now it's time to garnish. So I'm gonna be garnishing this, this is a pretty traditional way to garnish this drink, like you would a cobbler. So we've got some fresh berries. I've got blue and raz, and then I've got lemon. Put a lemon slice in there so it looks like a sunrise. Drop that right in. Put some fresh berries on top. Drop in a straw. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, the St. Charles Punch. Cheers. Woohoo! That's pretty, right? Oz, may I interest you in a St. Charles Punch?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello, welcome.
Hey.
I'm gonna let you have the first taste.
All right,
I know
cool.
what it tastes like.
Cheers.
What do you think?
That's yummy.
Do you taste the absinthe?
It's like a hint. It's a whisper of absinthe.
A whisper. I like that.
Yeah. If you didn't know what absinthe was or what it tasted like, I don't think you'd notice. I'm gonna go for one of these raspberries too.
There you go. Oh, that's so easy to drink. So I like this. You get the port first and foremost. This recipe, I dropped back the port wine, but you still get that fruitiness. I can taste the cognac, which I like. I would say that if you like something along the lines of a New York sour, you might like this. It's refreshing. It's got a richness to it. I'm just gonna keep complimenting the work that I did here.
Plummy, grapey, dark, fruity. Is that accurate? Would you say
accurate.
that that's accurate?
I would say that's accurate. This is a very forgiving template. I think if you went heavier on the port wine, those St. Charles punches are also really good. It's up to you. Just find that right balance that you like.
Oh yeah, if you haven't gotten your Falernum launch was a couple weeks ago before we left the country.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Some of you already tried the Falernum and have left me comments, and
Ooh.
I really appreciate you doing so. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. For those of you who haven't tried it,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. You can even get it with the grenadine as a 2-pack.
A two-pack.
Twofer.
I mean, you know, in this economy,
Yeah.
I understand.
Right.
But hey, if you're gonna get some Falernum, if you're looking for some Falernum,
Yeah.
we got the good stuff right here.
We'll leave you with this.
Goodbye. Just kidding. Hang in there.
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
Be excellent to each other. Cheers.
Goodbye.